Hello, everybody. I am so excited about today's interview. And from the feedback I've been getting from you guys in the DMs and the emails, you are too, because I have an amazing treat for you today. I have Allie Brown on the show, and so we're gonna get to her bio here in just a few minutes. But I just want to say welcome. I am so excited to see so many of you showing up day after day. This has been an incredible, amazing experience having these seven-figure women on the show, and I think you can see how just honest and raw and authentic and real they're just pulling back the curtains on their businesses and their strategies and how they've done things. And I love that you guys are getting so many takeaways. Now, if you are new to me, my name is Tanya Dalton. I'm the CEO and founder of Inkwell Press Productivity Co., and I'm on a mission to get more women into the seven-figure club, just like I am. Here's the truth. Only 2% of women-owned businesses ever reach that seven-figure mark. My guest, Allie Brown, today, and I together are on a big mission to bring that number even higher. You're going to be amazed by some of the things that Allie talks to you about today. I cannot wait. And here's the thing that I really love about these sessions we've been doing. We did them intentionally as a Zoom meeting rather than a webinar because I wanted you to turn on your cameras. I wanted you to pop into the chat. I want you to look at the gallery and see all of these women who are arm in arm with you, who are doing the work right alongside of you, growing their businesses. So I want to encourage you, it doesn't matter if you don't have makeup on, it doesn't matter if you're in your pajamas. Turn your camera on, let everybody see each other, because I think it's really important, especially with everything that's been going on in the world today, to know that we are in it together. So let's get the chat going. If you have questions for Allie, you can pop them in there, or big takeaways I'll be pulling from the chat. But let's go ahead and bring Allie on the show because I'm really excited for you guys to meet her. Now, if you're not familiar with Allie, she is the world's most recognized coach for women entrepreneurs, and she is actually my own coach. She is also the host of the acclaimed Glambition radio podcast, and she is the founder of The Trust. And The Trust is this new private premier network for 7- and 8-figure women leaders. It's a group that I'm a member of. Many of the women you've seen on this show over the course of the past 2 weeks, they are also a member of as well. Her coaching and consulting enterprise has ranked within the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing private companies in the nation. She's been named one of Forbes' Women to Watch, one of EY's winning women entrepreneurs, and she's been featured on the ABC hit primetime show Secret Millionaires. She's got quite an impressive bio, doesn't she? Yeah. In addition to leading the Trust Network, Allie specializes in helping female leaders who are on track or making 7 or 8 figures strategize and realize the next level of leadership and revenues. Her coaching and mentorship has been featured on CNN and many other media outlets. Allie lives in Scottsdale, Arizona with her 7-year-old twin, boy and girl, and her husband, Brett, who's from Australia, who is an absolute hoot. I love Brett. Let's go ahead, though, and welcome Allie to the show. Hi, Allie. So good to see you.
It's great to see you, too. This is fun. This is so pro. Tanya's so professional. This setup and it's awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, Allie. I'm trying. This is the thing, is we're trying it's a new kind of setup that we've been doing. We're always kind of up-leveling and trying new things. I felt like this was a good opportunity. And I think this is a thing. It's a good time to try new things, right? I mean, with what's going on in the world, what's been happening in the world, why not try something new? That's what I've been doing with this setup. And I know you're a disruptor. My favorite women are disruptors, just like you. And I like what you say, because you say that we are making our own rules, that we're creating new models for business success. I want you to talk about that, because I think that's one of the messages these women here today really need to listen to.
Yeah, and can I give a little context kind of where I came from that I think will segue beautifully into this? Actually, it's interesting because I would have never thought of myself as a disruptor, but when I look back, I realize I was. And so quick snapshot for those of you who don't know my story, I came out of college guns a-blazing, thinking that I wanted the corner office and the whole corporate thing. After 6 jobs in 6 years and thinking that, I just would find the place that would make me happy and realize that wasn't going to happen. I landed at this little ad agency, and that is where I really thrived. And that for 2 reasons. One is the partners were gone, this was a small agency with 8 people. The partners were gone a lot of the time. So we had to run the show, and I loved it. I loved picking up the phone and actually talking to the clients and figuring out how to get a design project out the door in FedEx. And I was really good, becoming good, because I would read and go to the library and check out books on this, is copywriting. And by the way, copywriting, sales, marketing, these skills will be your best assets in the future. That's not going away. I just got asked that actually on my show. Someone asked about that. Made the move to freelance because I saw someone freelancing, was like, what do you do? How do you come and go all day? Like, what, can I buy you a coffee?
What is this magic?
Yeah. And here I am 25, and there was this like a kind of gruffy old, like this, at the time I thought 50 was ancient. You know, I'm 49 now. And I'm like, can I buy you a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts? Tell me how to start freelancing. Cause this seems great. I could do the one thing I love and work for clients. He's like, you can absolutely, you know, ad agencies hire these people all the time. You need to just go introduce yourself. I have a few people I could talk to. So I literally quit within weeks. And I don't recommend this necessarily, but in my experience, and many of the women that I work with, we just won't go there until our back's against the wall. It is just so too easy. It is just too easy to not.
Yes.
Until it's too hard not to. And that's kind of always been, unfortunately, my story, right? And in fact, so I get to a place where I am so uncomfortable being there still, or even a bit resentful if I stay in the same place too long. And that, I feel, is that disruption. And that's why I'm there to make a change and typically step into a new place. Now, the whole internet marketing thing happened when I started my next little business, that freelancing. You know, I'm really condensing this, and you can all read more at my site, allybrown.com, if you'd like a longer story. But the internet was just coming out. I mean, this was the 90s, and this was the most, some of you may not be able to take this in,
but the Wild West.
Oh my God, the AOL CD. And like, you put this thing in and you were like, I mean, I can't even convey the excitement of that time. And remember the .com boom, and just, and I was like, oh, I want to be part of this. And what could I do with the internet? So I started just doing a newsletter, a little email newsletter to people I would meet. And that started to grow and grow. And then I started teaching what I was doing. People were saying, well, how are you doing this? And I literally found an ebook on how to write and sell ebooks, and wrote an ebook on how to market yourself with email newsletters. You have to remember, no one was doing this stuff. I was doing my own HTML code. I was up all night, like, so excited about this. Over the years, this turned into coaching, programs, consulting. And looking back, I would learn formulas and teach them. And so I never thought of myself as a disruptor, but the moves I would make were very disruptive.
Very counter status quo, right?
Yeah.
It's almost one of those things where you don't know until you look backwards. Oh, because it's funny to me. And I think that's so interesting, because I never saw myself as a disruptor, because I'm a people pleaser. Ugh. Which I hate about myself.
But you've always had this edge. You've had this disruptive, like, underlying disruption thing, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I don't think I've let it kind of come out and bloom until more recently.
Oh, it's out.
It's out. Allie's had a front row seat with like popcorn watching this all happen.
Tanya unleashed.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting.
Now's the time, man. Now is the time. We have no choice. Here's the liberating thing about right now. And of course, this conversation right now, and also all of you watching, there's this whole other world that people are not picking up on the energy. Outside is insanity. Outside, we don't know circumstances, what's going to happen. But inside this world, and feeling where we're going, and knowing the possibility and potential, if we've done the cool stuff we've done till now, around the corner, the way things are going, there's going to be so many amazing things we could do. So I do see that, like, everyone's going to have a choice soon, though, that they're really going to have to get locked into what they personally want to do, and not follow the model so much. Models are great for getting started. For those of you who are watching, who are beginners, right? Plug into a model, plug into something Tanya's doing, plug into something else you see, be like, that resonates. Let me do this, and work it. It's like a recipe. I usually will try a recipe exactly like 3 times in a row. And then I'll start knowing, you know what, this needs mushrooms, or I don't like the fennel seeds, or something like that. So you'll start knowing, like, you know what, I like this, but not that. And I'm going to do it this way with these people. And I think that's really where you step into knowing your lane. And that's when the bigger money comes. So it can arrive earlier, but in the women I've worked with who are really here for a big purpose, and they're leaders, and they're looking to create things that are revenue minded, but with great impact at the same time, there is a different edge to them where they lock into that place.
I think that's true. And I think the thing is, you're right. Like we can look and we can kind of compare where we are with our tracks only so far. And if you're spending all your time comparing with comparisоnism, then you're going to get stuck. You're not going to move forward because you're not going to tap into your own unique gifts. And I think that is the thing that is so exciting right now. All those outdated systems are changing. They're evolving. They've been blown up from the outside, from the inside out. These structures are crumbling. And I know that you said this recently, but the bad stuff is coming to light to be fixed. And that is such an opportunity. It really is that we have this ability to see that there are industries there ready for shakeups. Coaching, purpose-focused companies, healthcare, education. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you caught, and thank you for listening to the show, by the way. I always appreciate people listen.
I do too. When people listen, you're like, yes.
Yeah. So if you made a list right now, which we don't have time to do, but of all the things that are blowing up right now, right, from government, and I hope the whole thing blows up. I'm so sorry, but like we're so ready for new systems, all of us. We don't want to, we're breaking out of these compartments and categories and creating new things. So by the way, everybody, I'm not going to go there right now, but just have faith that where we're going, I believe, is going to create such new perfect systems that serve the people. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but generally that's kind of where we're going to land. It may be, the question is how messy is it going to be, right? But where we land, there's going to be such great opportunities. But let's look at this year, all the list of things that have come up and like been a problem. And you mentioned a few that I mentioned in the show, the healthcare and educate. Let's take education because it's somewhere many women relate to.
Yes, especially right now.
Will someone please invent a cool entrepreneurial type school for kids? But here's the thing, we're letting go now things we've tolerated. So I would have never, ever thought I'd be homeschooling.
I'll be honest. Understand? A year ago, Allie, if you had told me you were going to homeschool, I would have been like, what?
You're think of the Duggars, like we wearing matching denim and holding our Bibles. But can I tell you, it took a few months to get into it. And now the first month or two, I was so still, my mind was around the structure and are we doing it right? Are we doing it the way that they were doing it? Are they learning what they're supposed to know at this age? And you helped me a lot with the conversation we had. So thank you, but now I tell you, it's already January and we're making sure we know that generally they're where they should be for their age. And they're even ahead now if you're looking at grades, but we're so now unplugged from this, especially here in Arizona, by the way. You don't need to go, present cases to the school, what you're teaching and stuff. You really can just disconnect. I don't care as much anymore now. And in fact, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I had another gazillion hours to invent some type of schooling system for these kids that tied in them learning what mom and dad do, that it's almost like a work study program, for 7-year-olds, and that we all do this together. For example, in the trust, like I really think in the trust with our group, there's going to be something that happens even with kids eventually and schooling and education. But these are great opportunities for everyone to think of. Think of the industries being disrupted. People are tired of big companies running everything. There's a lot of resentment in how things are being handled. And we don't know legally what's going to happen with some of these larger companies and how they're handling things, government organizations. Think about that. So if you're in health, there's going to be incredible demand for people understanding their immune systems, paying for supplements, understanding how much wellness matters when you look at what happened this year and who's getting sick and who generally isn't, right? And then what else? What's another example we gave? Like,
let's see. Well, there's been a lot of shakeups, quite frankly. I mean, education to me is the big one. Watching so many people who swore they would never homeschool start homeschooling. I think that is there's so many opportunities there in healthcare, and really in the coaching space, things have shifted. And when you think about, communications, client communication industries, and those types of industries where things are just like, well, we did it this way, throw it out, and it's not working at all. I think that this is going to totally shift not just how entrepreneurs do business, but corporations as well, which then kind of trickles down into how a lot of entrepreneurs do things long term, right?
Yeah. So if you can think, some of you are maybe natural creative problem solvers, and if that's your jam, this is your time. Think ahead.
Step up.
I want you to think ahead. Yeah, not maybe not right now. Get out of this moment, maybe 6 months from now. Where are people going to be? What will they be looking for? If things they had relied on are gone, or structures they were plugged into don't exist anymore, or they're done. Like, we're also liberated. Like we're like, geez, if we're like now homeschooling the kids, we've held our marriage together. I haven't gained too much weight, and my business is still running. Imagine if we had a plan, right?
Right? If there was some sort of structure in place that somebody had put for us, where we could go. I think this is a thing. It's almost, Allie, it's like bringing you back to your AOL disc in the, kind of roots, where it's like, way back to when the internet's like we're old, way back when the internet started. But really, this is such an opportunity. It's a wild west out there, and it's ripe for the taking. It really is an opportunity. We had Charlene Lee come and speak as a guest advisor for the trust, and how she spoke about disruption, and how she talked about the businesses that succeed are the ones who are looking down the road and not just staying like, this is how we do business. The people who are saying this is how we do business are not going to be doing business in a year or 5 years from now, because you need to shift and change.
And here's the mindset shift some of you are going to have to make right now. That it's not about your latest launch. That's part of your plan, right? But you're going to need to think a little further ahead, but at the same time, be incredibly adaptable. Therein lies the challenge, right? Because either we're used to pivoting every 5 minutes and changing what we're doing, or we think maybe too far ahead and then we can't adapt. Which some people have been caught in one or the other lately, right? This past year, I think there was a lot of this, and that's okay. I mean, the key word was pivot. In fact, can we not say pivot in 2021?
Can we do away with the Ross memes with the pivot and the couch, and can we stop?
Totally. So, but like add agility is a beautiful word. I love the word.
I like
agility.
That word. I like that word.
I love flexibility, but it's time to anchor in what you really want to create now, and how big you really want to think. And the energies this year, if you want to get woo-woo, listen to my show, because I go into the planets.
We can get a little woo-woo if you'd like, Allie. Okay. I'm happy going woo-woo.
Shifted. And I shared on I'm saying on the show because I'm skipping over a lot. So that just, if people want to go hear it. Yes. But it was like a switch flip for me on the first, when I woke up. Night and day. 2020, I was like, keep on keeping on. We're going to keep doing this. 2021, the energies of this year are very supportive. And especially right now in January, believe it or not, right? Because if you look outside the door, it's going to hell in a handbasket. But the energies, if you really tune in right now to who you are and why you're here and what your great work is here to be, the manifesting power right now, and you're probably feeling it when I'm saying this now, just tune into this. This is the frequency you need to vibe at, even with all the stuff outside going on right now. The women are the ones who are really in the power right now with this divine feminine energy that's being unleashed. And there's this whole 5D thing, which some of you know about, which really basically humanity is ascending, humanity is evolving, and there's a quickening now, which is why it's so disruptive and crazy. But if you anchor into that higher vibe, that 5D versus the 3D, right? That 5D is where you feel where you're going versus the evidence-based, here are the numbers, here's what our clicks are.
Here's the model, here's
doing this. Yeah. So what was liberating for me is once I understood this stuff, which I heard people talk about for a while, I'm like, you kind of get it, but I'm like, no, I don't get it. And now I realize I always never quite fit in because I'm totally 5D.
This is the thing. Is
my dimension was ahead of its time. I would feel into where I need to go.
Yeah.
Even if the business was working and everything was great, I would feel so pulled to something new. So there's the disruption.
Well, here's the thing, Allie, and this is one of the things I learned about myself, because I know for me this past year, like I said, you've had a front row seat to a lot of this growth I've been doing, but it's recognizing and realizing that I didn't fit in for a purpose. There is a reason why I didn't fit in, because I am meant to lead. And if you are leading, you can't be in with all the sheep. You have to be the one who's guiding them and taking them. You're the shepherd, taking them where they need to go. And if you're fitting into every group, you're kind of changing who you are, and you're molding for the different groups. And instead, I love that word anchoring that you just used. Anchoring yourself, because it doesn't mean that you're anchored and you're a steel rod. You can anchor and bend and ebb and flow with the wind, and you can shift. We won't say pivot, because Allie's going to give me shit if I say pivot. But you can. It's about this anchoring and getting down to who you are and where you know you want to go. So it's okay if you have never fit in before. But that's the thing is, and I feel like that's one of the themes for a lot of the women in the Trust, this amazing network that you've created, is it is full of women leaders who are saying, oh, this is my place. This is why we need more of these communities of women. Right? I mean, that's...
and you see a lot of different situations this year. You have some who had the right model at the right time. And so they're like, you know what, pedal to the metal, right? Pedal
Things
to the metal.
Amazing.
We're going to take this thing, and you're interviewing many of them on the series, which I love. And then others are like, it was a gift. The disruption was a gift for them, in that they didn't super love what they were doing anyway. And so it's a chance to reinvent and choose. I mean, the gift in that is your only choice is to choose what is going to light you up going forward, and figuring out how that can be revenue based. And I know that this whole conversation is about the 7-8 figures. And I really feel my gift now is, we can talk about strategies and things to talk about, but really it's this stuff going forward that is going to be more important than it ever was in our lifetime, because we are being supported in a new way energetically that we had not been supported before.
Yes. And recovery is an opportunity. It really is. We have to start looking at it as an opportunity. It's a chance for us to shift and change and really decide, who is it I want to be, and where is it I want to go, and where is it I want to take other people with me, right?
I just love the word recovery. I always think of like rehab. That's what they call it, the churches. And I think we need like an internet marketing recovery, like a 12-step program, like to undo your funnel and
we could call it like unfuck your funnel.
Road down. Please, will someone please do that? Like unfuck your funnel. Oh my God. We just said that.
We did. We went there.
Funny. Yeah, totally. It's going to be a bit of a recovery, because you'll just like this. I'm going to use the school again as an example. For 6 months by default and unconsciously, I was comparing it to the model, right? I was comparing what we were
where
doing
we're supposed to be.
Yeah, without even thinking about, well, how much time were they spending a day reading, and how much time was there in the class on this, and are we doing things right? Now I'm like, these kids are happy. They're happier than I've seen them ever, healthier than I've ever seen them. They're outside more than ever. And I don't care if they can't. I mean, I think they know multiplication. I'm not even sure. I mean, like, they seem to be on track, but like, I've let go so much of the comparison. And this is what we're doing also. And this is when I reminisce about when I started my first business, the biggest gift I had is I was not able to compare myself to anyone. And the tragedy of social media, along with the incredible gifts it's given us, I've built my business very well with that when that came out. But looking back, the tragedy of social media is it drove us into this insane space of comparison and competition. When in the past, you may have just kept your nose down and maybe peeked up occasionally what people are doing, but like you were just getting your work done. And it's driven us to the brink of insanity. And, I just canceled my Twitter last night. And this isn't a political statement. I just think I had 70,000 followers. I had, I texted Erica on my team last night, and I said, the idea I was saying about dumping Twitter, I said, it just feels gross to me right now. And so on paper, this would not make sense at all. But we also made sure that, we're not getting as much activity over there as we do over here. My new people are over here more. They're not there.
And you're shifting like who you're speaking to and all, like, where is she, this person you're
Yes.
speaking to? Is she on Twitter?
Yeah.
Let it go, right?
Yeah. And it felt so freaking good because it was almost like this
I love
that it cut off, because it was also kind of the old Allie. It was the old model, caring what people were saying on there, and did they retweet this and blah, blah, blah. And just, you know what? I'm so in a different place right now. So if you don't know where you're going, here's a great question. What can you let go of right now that symbolically will free you in the right direction to go to that higher level that you know you could go? Is there something that even may not make sense, but just like Twitter for me, some people now are probably aghast, right? They're like, I'll take over your account. You have 70,000 people, right? But what can you let go of right now that you know would just be like cutting a cord, that you could fly up to somewhere new and see, at least play somewhere different, you know? And for me, that was a big, because also when I did the show Secret Millionaire, a lot of TV, we had a lot of weird followers. When you start doing that mass market stuff, you get people just who think you're giving away money, and, you know, and then we're like, where do people argue with everything I say? We're like, usually Twitter or Facebook.
Oh, Twitter.
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's just, you know, and by the way, you can test this too. Try hiding your page and see how it feels, you know? And then you could, that's just one example, but letting go is a great first step of something that maybe does not fit your 2021. And it's that way, even if you don't know where you're going, that release will let you feel into the right direction.
Yes. We think of quitting like winners never quit. Winners quit all the time. We have to quit and cut the cord on some of these things because like Allie was saying, it's just dead weight. And I know, Allie, that you've said that you gained a power this past year in who you had become. I love that because it really, you know, this whole past year has been a catalyst for so many of us. I know it has for me and it has for you. You know, you said that it made you help to realize that you and your business are built for all seasons. I love that. This idea of you're ready to kind of weather the storm, and prepping for the storm doesn't make you a negative Nancy or it makes you prepared. I love that idea.
Yeah. And you will feel, as women, we do need to feel an underlying foundation of safety. We do need to feel that in our bodies. Otherwise, it's hard for us to make a move. So that's when it is important to have, you know, just look at if you could go through 2020 again, what would you have ready? What would you have had ready if you needed to? Maybe a little extra savings cushion, right? Maybe extra food in the house, just any of that stuff. When you can relax a bit and know when you feel safe in your body, because this is in our DNA, it's from being cave women. Like if we didn't have that feeling of safety, right? We were in danger all the time, but now you're not really all the time, but how could you feel that way? And that preparedness extends to your business as well. So think of, you know, what would you like to be different this year?
Oh, I like that. I like the idea of letting go and cutting the cord and then really thinking back, like what could you have done to kind of shift, and then use that as your springboard. Don't use that as your beating up stick to be like, I did everything wrong. To me, when we look backwards, we're able to move forward. And by looking backwards, it's the good things that help us, yeah, but it's the bad things, the things we didn't like, that's really what shifts us into overdrive, and that's what moves the needle forward in our lives.
Yeah.
That's the uncomfortableness, Allie, that you talked about. Like we don't want to change until we're kind of backed up against the wall. Look at that uncomfortableness, look at the things you didn't like, and then use that to push off of to give you the momentum for where you want to go.
Exactly. And this is what's going to be different going forward. I think you're going to see a lot less formulas. I think formulas are great to implement strategies, but you're going to have to know, you're going to have to set yourself up to be okay, right? Let go of the things that don't fit, and then really feel into where you want to go this year. And putting all that together, that really is, I guess that's a new formula. I've just the new formula. Maybe that is the new formula, the anti-formula.
Yeah, that works. It totally works. But here's what's interesting for those of you who've been, you know, watching all of these interviews. I think you're noticing there's a recurring theme, this idea of really rooting in with your instincts, really allowing your intuition
Has that been a
to play
theme
a
the whole
role.
time?
Oh, we've had, yes, several people mention that. And, of course, for me, that's been a big thing. But with a lot of these conversations, we've been talking about using our gut instincts, using our intuition, really leaning into that. And I think for a long time, people thought that was woo-woo, like, I don't know about that. And really, this is how we were designed. This is how we were designed to move forward with decisions in any situation. But for some reason with work and with our business, we want to kind of like, oh, that's silly stuff. And it's like, no, it's okay to be guided by your emotions and your feelings and the thoughts of where it is you want to go and where your gut is pulling you.
This is the new model.
It is.
This absolutely the new model. And this is what, when you look back, when women entered the workforce, I guess the 70s is where we really started coming in, right? Like the old broads, God bless them.
I am woman, hear me roar.
Totally. And man, I give a shout out to the stuff those women had to deal with. And probably the jokes at work and
can we just talk about the shoulder pads and the ties? Just that alone was bad.
So when you look at the world of business, right, and it had been operating kind of on its own in that male model for centuries,
yeah.
Right? And then we came in and we fit into it for a while. And then we started making little changes, right? We started questioning things. We started bringing meaning to the world of work. We wanted it set up differently to serve us and who we wanted to be in the process with family or outside interests, or really to serve who we were. So women have been the ones to come in and start changing all these old models. And that is happening right now, kind of globally, right? This is not something you'd see on mainstream media. If you're not going to find out much there about anything right now, but like all this cool stuff going underneath, it is a divine feminine energy. But the men are bringing this too. The men who are already kind of evolved and there, and and so we're bringing this we're pioneering this as we go. So ladies, I also want to say, if this hasn't been your rock star year, give yourself grace. Look at what you've handled this past year. Look at what you're handling now, right? And then maybe trying to invent a whole new business model on top of that. And you'll feel like how we are delivering, this is like a birth. We are delivering this new model to the earth right now. There's so much going on, but it's so incredibly exciting that to realize that we're witnessing this, and we're going to look back and go, oh my gosh, that was one of the most freakiest, scariest, but amazing times in history, when you see eventually where humanity is going, where business is going, the new models that are being birthed, and we are birthing them. Like this year,
this is childbirth right now. All this, this is what happens before you birth something. It's a hot mess. It is a hot mess when you're birthing something, because there's all kinds of things that go wrong. There's shifts and changes, and it is messy work. But then you birth the new thing, and it's a thing of beauty. Yes.
We figured this out. Like we kind of, here we are, where the kids are here, my team's here. Like we figured this all out. And, so we're creating these new models as we go that are actually so empowering and serve who we are. And so take that now, extend that to your business, extend what you've accomplished this year, even personally, and take that power to your business and go, what is it that I really want to create now? Screw the models, right? If you don't, and I'm saying if something's working, for God's sake, don't stop, right?
No.
But for those of you who are like, something's percolating, or I'm just still not sure, right?
Yeah.
Now is the time. Now is the time to think, okay, what do I really want to create with this? How do I want it to look? How do I want to work? You can get the answers later, but don't lose that dream. Don't lose that feeling.
Yes. I like too what you said about, we were trying to fit in for a long time. The women came into the workforce and we started making these shifts and these changes in the 70s and even into the 80s and the 90s. And for a long time we were like, please, can we have a seat at the table? Can we have a seat? I'll dress like you. I'll act like you. I just want a seat. And now we're like, oh no, there is room at this table. Push the chairs aside. Let's bring up our own chairs. And you know what? Let me shove this chair over too, because this one's for another woman that I want to link arms with. This is the thing. We make our own chairs. We don't have to wait for the chairs to be pulled out for us. This is not the 1800s. We can pull out our own chair, plop our asses into it, and make it work for the way that we want our business to work. That's the new model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me get off my high horse. Hold on. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Allie has a tendency to get me all fired up. She and I love to chat about these kinds of things, don't we? We do.
People would join behind the scenes where we really just like go off too. It's like uncensored and like we're just going off on the world and everybody.
Yeah. Allie and I sometimes have conversations where we're like, we should make this a podcast episode, you know? Yeah.
It's like hot stuff. Yeah.
It is hot opinions. Yeah. But this is the thing is these are the conversations that we need to be having more of. We need to be in the room with women having these conversations. I know for me, having that community that you have built for these 7 and 8 figure business owners that I'm in the trust, that has been a game changer for me, which is part of the reason why I'm really looking to build a community for my people as well, because it is so beneficial to get in the room and say, you know what, we don't need other people to pull out the chair. You know what, we don't even need to bring our own chairs. We'll make the table. We will make the table, right?
Yeah, and I want to be watching. If you're new to, I'm going to give you a plug. Sorry, I just wanted to really talk. Tanya, when Tanya kind of came into Alley World, I was so not much impresses me anymore. I've been around. This ain't my first rodeo. I've been in coaching for 15 years. I've been in the internet marketing space for over 20 years. When Tanya came and I saw how good her content was, and you can tell I'm not blowing smoke right now. Her content is fantastic. Like I read her book. I dove into her programs. If you are looking for somewhere to lock in and learn from, this is the woman right here, because she will teach you how to work differently, how to operate differently, and bring in amazing women that she's surrounded herself with as well. And you know, the one thing that you brought to the whole world of productivity, Tanya, for example, which was really like the core of your conversation for a long time, was looking at this so differently from a different perspective. And that's why I love you so much, because I love multi-perspective points of view, right? The old model is the one answer. It's either black or white. It's this or that. It's up or down. No, going forward, it's this holistic, different view of things. And that's what you bring to the conversation. And it's another reason why I love you brought all these different women together, all achieving great things, but very different. Like I can't wait to go back and listen to some of these. I haven't had time.
Very different. And that's what I wanted. I think this is so important, is this kind of, bringing different women with different viewpoints to our tables that we've made ourselves, that really this is what sparks the conversation. And I feel like when I entered Alley World, that was, for me, it was like, oh, there are these other women here who want to talk about business the way I do, and who want to talk about the intuition, who want to talk about our families and our home lives as much as we want to talk about our businesses and feel successful in all of them. For me, that was eye-opening. And I think this is the thing. So much of business is right here between our ears. It's the mindset. It's shifting how we look at things and choosing to see it from a different perspective. Allie, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm so grateful for you, honestly, because I do feel like you are a catalyst for me in really shifting into who I am fully and anchoring. And I know that a few weeks ago, we had a call on the trust where we all went through and shared our single biggest piece of wisdom that we got from 2020. And there were things like my instincts were really, what I wanted to focus on. I had the courage to be myself. I learned to protect the vision. I'd love to know, what do you think was your single biggest piece of wisdom from last year?
Well, you put me on the spot because I'm trying to remember, because I was so busy assembling everyone's.
You were.
The power of who I've become over the last year. Yeah. And letting myself go through that metamorphosis. There's that meme going around. It's beautiful if you've seen it. There's like a woman in this cocoon that says 2020, and then 2021 is she's like this, right? And I think 2020, and I shared on my show, to be frank, it wasn't an easy year for me, and I'm not feeling sorry for myself. Life's fantastic, and we're very blessed with everything. But I'm just saying, for me personally, kind of one of those, like I had a bit of those moments, like a crisis of meaning, like what's going on with the world? Is this the right time to be doing what I'm doing? Should I be doing something different? What's going to happen with my children and the world they're growing up with? It was a lot of questioning. And that was the purpose of 2020, man. It was a lot of questioning. And many of you got to question your business models. You hadn't done that before, but it gave you permission. We got to question education. We got to question. And now it was like coming through the gate this year now. I'm like, there's just, I feel just very, very solid, very solid. And I think last year brought something for everyone in whatever was their thing that needed to come up and for them to move through. Could be relationship, could have been their health. For me personally, it was purpose. It was that kind of purpose work, like getting really so grounded in that, and now there's no question. Now there's no question at all. So again, but honoring that, I think honoring those feelings when you need to let them move through you, right? If you keep stuff pushing them down, they'll fester. There'll be a problem with that. It needs to move through and be released. So kind of honoring, going like, why am I feeling this way? Am I really questioning this? No, this is truth. Okay. Is this the right time? Yes, it is. But like having those dialogues with yourself, it's okay, because you will come out the other side getting really, really clear in what you're creating.
Oh, I think that's so true. And that brings that anchoring that you talked about.
Yeah. The anchoring. Yeah. Because that's like the storm's gonna, right, this or that way or whatever, or the internet's gonna blow up and come back. We don't know. It's very exciting. I
like how you said exciting. It's like, yes, exciting.
Can I tell you a secret fantasy is that we have a complete, I don't want to manifest this, so I won't say it, but like we have a complete like internet blackout for a few days, because
I think that would be a reset.
I would just like to sleep for like 3 days, and and it'll keep me off the news, and I kind of wouldn't mind that, by the way. So yeah, just this again, being so strong. And so you're going to get blown around. Things going to happen, right? There's going to be unexpected things happening, right? All the time. So what's happening right now is really just this incredible, intense quickening of what always happens. But man, we're like this and this, and like, we don't know what things change every 5 minutes, but you're anchored. So it's like when those tall, the tall palm trees in Florida, like where we're going, Miami, they're just like this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Storm. Yeah. Whatever.
I mean, they're weathering the hurricanes, right? Because they have deep roots, and yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
But, and if you don't know where to ground yet, it's okay. Just start with who you are, like knowing who you are, and you can, if you need some help with that, go find a coach or a therapist or something to help you with that, or a spiritual teacher. But like that's where, if you can do some work in that area, and then once from there, though, you're good. Then learn from the best in the business, then go the direction you need to go in.
It's true. Mindset work is such an important part of getting to that next level. And it's funny because when I got on the phone with Allie for our very first call, when we were kind of feeling each other out, were we going to work together, with Allie as my coach, I said to Allie, I go, I don't need mindset work because I feel like I got the right mindset. And then we did a whole year of mindset work. And I just said, that was what I needed. She just like, nod and smile, nod and smile. Sure you don't. You are just perfect.
Well, no one hires someone for mindset, and it's never a conversation that you could have completely in the beginning. So I'm just, we're filling each other out. But it was funny because it ends up, because at these levels, right? And this ties back into the 7 and 8 figures. You're making such big decisions that the place you make those decisions from will be night and day in your results. So if you're making that decision from a place when you are an emotional place of lack or fear, or pissed off at your team, or pissed off at your husband, or whatever, or looking at the bank account, you're like, shit, it wasn't supposed to be this way. It was supposed to look the way in April and this way in May. Like, versus that groundedness, the anchored place, making those decisions that you are then pulling the future towards you, versus like pushing through it. It's a completely different place to be. And so, I still hate the word mindset. I'm like, I don't know any like billionaires who talk about mindset, right?
Yeah.
But it is just still the best word for like making the decisions from a place of strength in who you are. That is the gift.
Yes, I love it.
And that's something I see you do now all the time.
Thank you.
You make decisions from strength, and I think you always did, but it was just getting the clarity on and having these discussions with women who talk about this stuff. It's just sometimes you can't verbalize it, and now we have.
Yeah, you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. I think sometimes you have to see yourself as others see you as well, with some of the positive things. I know for me, it's been a game changer. And so I'm so appreciative of you. Allie, please tell everybody, where's the best place for them to find you and to learn more about you?
Absolutely. So alliebrown.com, my show's glambitionradio.com. That takes you to the Apple podcasts. We've gotten some amazing feedback. The last 2 episodes I dropped really quickly and very timely are solos. Yes. Man, I'm just dropping bomb after bomb. Like, it's kind of a wake-up call for everybody. So if you liked a little bit what we did today, go listen to that. I'm getting so many messages, people saying, oh my God, that brought me back to where I needed to be. Thank you. Yeah. Join the Trust, jointhetrust.org is our website for the trust, which, real quickly, I created because there has not been a modern women's network created in over 20 years. We are a different breed. We are handling things that women have not had to handle before. And we need a new group to be able to do that. And I work with the women at certain levels because it is a different conversation. So jointhetrust.org for that. And we have a meeting coming up in Miami. We have incredible guests coming up. We've a lot of the women who have been on this series, I'm honored. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many members of the trust that are on this. So it's been fantastic to see. So, and Instagram's my happy place. That's where I play. So if you want to drop me a note, I'm on there too. Allie Brown Official.
Well, Allie, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing so much with everybody here. Truly, you are an inspiration, but just the truths that you drop, and just, to me, the courage to step forward in confidence and drop these truths. We need more of that in our world. So grateful for you. So grateful.
Whatever Tanya's offering, you need to, I don't even know what you're offering this thing, but like you need to go sign up for this thing, whatever she's doing.
I like Allie a lot. You can tell why. Thank you so much, Allie.
Okay, hun, take care.
All right, everybody. Wasn't Allie amazing? She is an incredible rock for me. And just like I said, it really, for me, it's being in the room with women like Allie, and these conversations you're seeing us have again and again on these interviews. That is really what allows you to up level, to get to that next level, to feel confident in who you are, to anchor and root and understand your intuition, to really grow your business with intention. And I think it does. It takes courage. It takes confidence to do business differently, to go against the status quo and choose how you want to live. That's actually one of the things we're talking about on my podcast episode this week, is that idea and that concept of the lucrative life. What does that look like, and how do we manifest that? How do we do that? So if that's something that is appealing to you, I want to encourage you to join my free masterclass. It's happening next week on Thursday. You can join at tanyadalton.com/masterclass. We're going to dive into a lot of the strategies and the concepts you need to really get that mindset, like Allie and I were talking about, to really grow your business with intention. Because I have to agree wholeheartedly with Allie that it is time to throw out the old models, and it's time to step in and manifest something brand new for yourself. And that's what we talk about in the masterclass. That is what we give you the framework so you can start going out and doing yourself, because it is about creating our own tables, so to speak, like we talked about here today. So if you haven't signed up, tanyadalton.com/masterclass. And here's what I'm doing to really incentivize you to show up. I'm offering one free coaching session to one lucky winner. So you'll be entered into a drawing for a coaching session with me. We'll dive into your business or your life or whatever it is you want to dive into on a Zoom call, and I'll help you work through your stumbling blocks. And when you get your ticket to go to this free event, there'll also be some ways you can share, and you get 2 entries every time you share. So I would love to see you there. Let's talk more about the strategies to get your business to where you want it to get. Whether it's getting it to the 6-figure mark or getting it to the multi-6-figure to the 7-figure mark, you can do it. If I can do it, if the women we've had on the show can do it as well, you can too. It's just giving you a little bit of strategy, some of those tactics, and sprinkling in your own special magic. All right? So make plans to meet me there. All right, everybody. I hope you'll join me tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern. We'll have another 7-figure session. Bye for now.